This is the Realest Realtor podcast hosted by Carmellita Turner, the realest realtor you know. Episodes are here each and every Wednesday at 3 p.m. because this is the show where people are interested in engaging in real conversations that talk about real life and how very real situations impact how we are able to leverage our wealth building ability through real estate. We're so glad you decided to join us.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks again for returning to the Realest Realtor podcast hosted by myself, Carmellita Turner, the Realest Realtor you know. We are so grateful that you show up here each and every Wednesday at 3 p.m., where we specialize in connecting the dots between the real world events, real people, and how those events impact their lives and their wealth acquisition through real estate. I am so excited about today. Our topic is time to meet a real queen, and how appropriate is that for Women's History Month. So I am so excited about our guest that we're going to have on the line today. I actually wore my special t-shirt for her that says, "Don't be a lady, be a legend," because she is indeed a legend in her own right. And we always like to shout out and support female-owned Black businesses. So if you want a t-shirt like this, you can go to shop414.com and holler at my girl Stephanie Tillman. Today, in honor of Women's History Month as well, I have a business success story shout out for another female-owned, Black-owned business in Chevy Chase, Maryland, Imhotep. And I'm going to say to everyone, and I hope Patty will forgive me if I say it wrong, Ye Imhotep, meaning that we welcome everyone to this podcast in peace. Her salon is definitely peaceful, state of the art. Make sure you check her out at 5481 Wisconsin Avenue in Chevy Chase, Maryland. Contact number 301-245-1770. Patricia Patton, lovingly called Patty. We thank you for all that you are doing in the business community and all that you are doing for Black women in business. All right, so without any further ado, I am so excited to have the guest on the line with me today. This is someone I have to kind of give my little confession. When I first came into real estate, I met this queen. I was with a brokerage in Woodbridge with Exit, Terry Lynn Harrell. I like to give credit where credit is due. And when I tell you, I was impressed by this woman from day one. I secretly stalk her because I watch everything that she does, because she is someone who knows her business. She's someone who's transparent. She's out here impacting lives in many ways. Let me tell you something. This woman has done multiple things, and I'm going to let her tell you a lot about herself. In her introduction, I was actually reading about Maya Moore this morning, and it made me think of this woman because I'm like, wow, I tell you, great things come out of that WNBA. But I'm not going to belabor the point. I have on the podcast with me today none other than the Queen of Mortgages herself, Markita Woods, and I am going to let her greet all of you and tell us a little bit about herself. Hey, Markita.
Hey, Carmelita. I'm humbled to be here. Thanks for actually reaching out to have me, on the show. And it is funny that where our paths actually cross. Another Black queen. Yeah. Doing what she do, and it wasn't a lot of us out there looking like that in this area at the time. So definitely shout out to Terry Lynn for making that all happen. So again, like I said, I appreciate you having me on the show. I'm Markita Woods, affectionately known as the Queen of Mortgages, and part of the question was to talk about my journey. I have self-appointed myself the Queen of Mortgages, and all our queens out there, you self-appoint yourself too, the queen of whatever it is, right?
That's right.
But with a name like that, you actually do need to, live up to the moniker or the name or whatever it is. So I don't really take it lightly, even though I self-appointed myself. So Maya Moore, you mentioned Maya Moore in the WNBA. My journey into mortgages is a different path than most. I used to play professional basketball in the WNBA, and I played for the Washington Mystics. Shout out to the Mystics for winning the championship this year.
Yes,
they're actually going to have a parade, and I'll be there front and center because I played during a time that was almost like pioneering of the team and that league It was in its second year when I joined the team in Washington, D.C., and really, if it wasn't for playing for the Mystics, I don't know if I'd be sitting here today, because my office is in Woodbridge, Virginia, but I had never even really dealt with the DMV, DC, or anything like that prior to that. I'm originally from Detroit, played basketball all the way through college, was fortunate to get the opportunity, made the most of it. It was a dream come true. Like I said, because at that time, that was the first time that you had legit women's basketball in the States. Now, you always could go play overseas, but to actually make money doing something you love, even if it wasn't a lot of money, it's still, you're writing me a check to go play. Yeah, I can do that.
Right.
I can do that. So played with the Mystics for 3 years, and my career abruptly came to an end, and it was interesting. I was already kind of prepped and always thought that I would be some type of entrepreneur. Thought I would be a real estate investor like everybody else. I had saw the Carlton Sheets. Jones thought, okay, I'm going to do the Carlton Sheets. So on the off season one year, because the off season is very long. If you don't know about the WNBA, the actual season is in the summer. So you have some months off, and a lot of players go overseas, which I did that as well. But I took some of the time on one of the last off seasons, and I went to real estate school. So I thought they were going to teach me how to be the next female Carlton Sheets. But what they actually taught me was how to pass the test to get a real estate license. And now that I've already invested the time, I figured I might as well take the test, even though this is not what I came here for. So I initially ended up with this real estate license, went back to playing the WNBA. Last day of this training camp, basically got called in, and they go, we're moving in a different direction. So I was basically fired abruptly, like an hour before you're supposed to put in the roster. And at the time, I was like, wow, like really? I wasn't bitter or anything. I was just like, you know what? That just means it's time for me to move into another venture. So I did one transaction as a real estate agent. I have nothing but mad love and respect for what you all do, because I knew quickly that this is not for me. I mean, quick, fast, in a hurry.
It's not for the faint at heart.
Oh, no, and I like to think I got a lot of heart, which is what made me be able to, make it to the level I did. Where I lost talent, I had heart, but I was out the game real fast, and I think people take it for granted the role that you all play sometimes, and part of that is their agent community fault, right? Like, they don't know all the things that go on the back end to really make a transaction work, and I wasn't in for that. So a company named Westar Mortgage had did the financing for a veteran when I did that that one transaction, and I had a conversation with the loan officer / owner of the company, and just realized that my degree was in financial management. Hey, maybe there's a spot for you. We got some training coming up next week. You should come to the training. So I said, okay, sure. So I show up to the training all week in my sweats, because I don't really have a whole lot of regular clothes, but it was all good. I know they're like, who is this person? So that's really where my journey started into the mortgage world. Did the one transaction, went to their training for a week. They made me complete a good faith estimate of fees by hand, and that was your entry into the mortgage business. So here I am. It'll be 18 years later in June.
Wow, 18 years. I love, first of all, I could sit here and just listen to you. I feel like we should have a fire going for this fireside chat. I love your evolution and how you describe that. Some key things, I think, for entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, just, business folks in general. Identifying, like you said, you knew right away, this is not the spot for me. You saw it through to the end. I was in education for 23 years, but my most important job, just like yours, is that I'm a mom. And so, I often will tell my daughter, look, see something through to the end regardless, right? Cross that finish line, and then determine what's the best move for you next. And so I like that you were able to do that. And in the midst of that, identified what really may be a good fit for you. 18 years in the industry, yeah, that's a very long time. That is why you are so good at what you do. You've obviously afforded yourself the education, the training, and you had the foundation. I mean, a degree in finance is nothing to sneeze at. That's a feat in and of itself. So you definitely had the foundation for it. Thank you for letting folks know that being a realtor isn't all glitz and glamour, and that we do a lot of hard work on behalf of our clients, as do our lenders like yourself. And so that's why I never funnel people to just anybody. I make sure that they are connecting with people like yourself. So I love that story. And I feel every time I hear you on many different interviews, many different places, but I hear something new every time. So I really do love that. You mentioned you did one transaction as an agent, and
Yes,
you said it was for a veteran.
that's correct.
It seems like veterans are definitely something that is near and dear to your heart. So can you tell me a little bit about what it is you do now as a lender, the groups that you serve, things that you offer?
So I wore my camouflage today too to represent here for the veterans. I don't know if you
Yes,
really can
I do
see it.
see.
So, you know, entrepreneur wise, at some point you have to, I feel like, master your craft, right? You have to master your craft, and you cannot be a jack of all trades. You need to master your craft, and you can't do all things well. I mean, I don't ever want somebody to think that you can do all things, but to really try to be the best and give the best service, I think you need to master your craft. So we had a market crash back in 2008, around that time frame. Well, it started in 2005, so we really started coming out of it in 2008. But during that time was when I decided that I was going to, A, brand myself the queen of mortgages, and B, I was going to focus on a specific area. Instead of saying that I can do all loans equally well, and even though we do all loans, I really started to dig in on helping veterans purchase homes, using their VA benefit. And during that time, it wasn't popular. But this is a loan, this is a benefit. This is something that they actually earned. It's a loan that you can do with no money down. Two of the biggest things that stop people from purchasing homes are credit and down payment. So why not focus on a loan that already removes one of those barriers? So that's one of the people that I serve at a very high level, far as our business model is concerned and who we're the best for. The other group of people that we work with successfully are first-time home buyers. So sometimes people fit in both categories. They're a first-time home buyer and they're a veteran, especially in this area. So first-time home buyers have become near and dear to my heart as well, just because you don't know what you don't know. And I actually did a real estate transaction where I purchased a house while I was playing in the WNBA. And when I can say it was a catastrophe, I found that out after the fact. So it's funny how you have these life experiences and you don't know where they're going to serve you at later on in your journey. So veterans and first-time home buyers are who we really do serve. Now, we'll help somebody that's a move-up buyer and, do specific things. But when you start saying, I want to have someone work with somebody who's the best or very passionate about it, those are two groups that we service at a high level.
I love that. I love that. And I too had to come. I mean, I haven't been in this as long as you have. I'm coming up on 9 years. So I had to make a decision like you're describing for myself. And I know for me, just like when I was an educator, the victory was in the classroom for me at that time, even though I was an administrator, I was a principal. The same thing in real estate. The victory for me is with the buyers, with the clients. So I am truly a buyer's agent. And I do focus on those folks that may be impacted by those two obstacles, credit and down payment. Many of whom, like you said, are first-time home buyers. So I love that you spoke about that. I agree with you that we can't do everything well. However, what I do well is that I'm a conduit. I know what I do well, and if I don't do it well, I know just the queen to connect you to. So that's always a good thing. And I'm very transparent and fair about what I don't do well, but I work hard to find folks what they need, and I know that you do that as well. Can you talk? You mentioned a little bit about those two large barriers, credit and down payment. I actually just started my signature program, my 6-month home ownership solution program. And credit is one of the major areas, second to mindset. And I'll let you expand on that when you answer, but that I'm working on, within the group, because one of the things that I know to be true is that when your credit is strong, undeniably strong at a certain level, your life is different. You move different. You're able to do things different. However, that comes with a level of responsibility and understanding, because my goal isn't just for your credit to be 700 plus to buy a house. My goal is for your credit to stay there for life so that you can experience things and have access to things in a different way. What are some of your thoughts on helpful credit behaviors? We see a lot of companies out here. Many are doing good things to help folks who need to work on their credit. Some may be better than others. I don't advocate anything over any other thing. What are some of your thoughts on that area of credit as it is impacting us in this nation, our millennials, student loan debt? What are some of your credit behavior thoughts?
It's interesting. When I started, we used credit as a barometer, but it wasn't the know-all, end-all of everything. Whereas now that has totally changed. Like, I can't even further the conversation with someone unless the credit score is in play. Whereas when we first started, maybe the credit was just average, but you had some other things that could help offset it. As a result, these numbers have embedded themselves squarely into our life, not just lending at this point. Everything you do is going to be impacted by the credit score based on the job. They're looking at your credit. Insurance companies now are looking at credit. So everything you do, the company just to go turn on the lights when you buy the house is looking at the credit. And what it boils down to is those that have lower credit scores are going to pay more in the long run for everything, okay? So there's always this question floating around on the internet, would you rather have perfect credit or I don't know whether it's like $100,000. It's like a significant number. And I always like to watch and see what those answers actually are going to be. But from the standpoint of now that I know what I know, I would take the perfect credit, because so many other things are going to, you can have people now give you credit to earn $100,000 just based on the fact that you're a better risk of paying back the money. So I don't have any shiny, glorified credit helpful tip. Pay your bills on time. That's the bottom line. I don't,
basic.
And if something happens in life that you're not able to do that, don't hide from it. Go ahead and tackle it head on and get back on track, because a credit score right now to me is more important than somebody handing me $100,000 in cash. I'd rather be able to use debt in the right way to produce more assets, and I'll make way more than $100,000. So, like I said, I can't really give anything outside of that, and that starts with, though, and it's easy, all right, pay your bills on time, but it really has to just be an overall behavioral change, just in thought process and what we're doing with our money. So I think it really does start there, and unfortunately, for some in our community, it's just not a conversation that's had around the dinner table. So it's hard to make those changes, but certainly it definitely can be done. And so it's just an overall behavioral change on what we're doing with our money. Are we paying attention, and what the overall impact of that is in the long run?
Those are the best credit tips I think you could have gave anybody, Markita. They were spot on. Hey, pay your bills on time and don't hide from problems when they happen, because we know life does happen. And like you said, that overall behavioral change starts in the mind. So those were your credit tips. Those are awesome. So thank you for that. I love that so much. You are just such of a wealth of information. I know that we could probably talk for hours and hours and hours. I know that you have other veterans and other first-time home buyers to bless. Is there anything that, any last thoughts you would want to offer folks? And then please, please, please make sure that you share with us how people can connect with you.
Okay. So we will start with how to connect with me. You probably already know it's queenofmortgages.com. You can also find me on Facebook at Queen of Mortgages. That is our business page. Also can link up on the personal side at Markita Woods. And I have a YouTube channel you can subscribe to, is Queen of Mortgages as well. So that's how you connect with me, probably the easiest. I think, I don't know, maybe you may not have connected with me on Facebook. You might have sent me an email, but all of my contact information is there as well, just to reach out if you're someone that does not want to use a social media site. You can email me. My email, my phone number is there because I'm all about transparency. So to me, it's like if you're going to take the step to reach out, then I'm going to grab your hand and try to help you. But you have to take that first action. And one of the things I think that's a huge myth about purchasing a home is that you need a large down payment and you have to have perfect credit. Now, you do need to have credit that is pretty good, but it doesn't have to be perfect, and you don't need a large down payment. Depending on where you're buying, there is grant money available to help you purchase. I'm in the Virginia area, and they actually have a down payment assistance program that will give you up to 2.5% of the down payment, which is pretty good if the down payment itself actually is 3.5%. So you have to come up with 1% of your own down payment to purchase a home. And the last time I checked, we live in a very high rent area, and the 1% of a sales price of $300,000 is $3,000. Well, you have landlords that are asking for, first month's rent and a security deposit, which is actually more than that in some cases. So don't be discouraged if you don't have a large amount of money. Don't believe the myths. You absolutely can buy with a lower down payment and pretty good credit. So there's places out here that advertise credit scores down to 580. Absolutely, you can do that. You're going to need your own down payment, and for sure you're going to pay much more for that loan than you really need to. If I look at that as an option, though, versus renting, you can take it, but I prefer that we all come in at a better place as far as purchasing a home and getting started the right way.
I love that. Oh, you just gave me chill bumps. You are awesome. You have just demonstrated why you're truly the queen of mortgages, queen in my eyes. I love you for doing this. Folks, please make sure that you connect with her, queenofmortgages.com. She's Queen of Mortgages on her social media platforms. This is definitely someone that you need to, and let me say this, really, folks, we don't only need a relationship with our lenders when we're purchasing. This should always be an ongoing relationship, whether you're referring folks to your preferred lender, whether you're talking to her about, should I refinance? Can you take a look at this for me, Markita? Tell me what you think about this. So relationships with your lenders, just like with your realtors, are truly always ongoing things, because there's always a point in life where sometimes we just need a little bit of a checkup, right, Markita? Just a little touch base for some advice. Yeah.
Exactly. So, I call it an annual review, and it definitely is relationship based. That's the only way I've been able to survive in this market at 18 years, and there's not a lot of people that look like me that do what I do. So it's all relationship based, and we used to joke, hey, I'm your lender for life. But I say, really, your lender, your realtor, they're part of your wealth advising team. So you want to stay in contact and be, friends and family with your wealth advisors, because ultimately that is the goal when we start purchasing this home, is to talk about equity. So, yes, this is part of your wealth advising team, and this is not just one transaction unless you let it be that way.
That's right. I love that. And I'm telling you in advance, I'm going to use that. I will give you credit. Wealth advising team. I know that's right. I definitely want to be one of those wealth advisors, because I'm a firm believer, as is this podcast, in building your wealth, your ability to have wealth acquisition through your primary home, through your investment properties. We know that the greatest investment on earth is dirt. And so it's truly, for me, it's definitely a mission, so that I'm able to just help more people own a slice of this earth. Markita, I love you for doing this. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Thanks for doing this. And I see you out there, using your education background as a platform to help move forward. So keep pushing on. And, of course, there's anything I can help with, I'm here.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much. Have a good
All right.
one. Take care,
All right,
folks.
you too. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Wow, that was just an awesome interview. As always, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Realest Realtor podcast. You can find us here on Anchor and Spotify each and every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Again, please remember to support our business success story of the week. Imhotep Nail Services, located in Salon Loft number 17 at 5481 Wisconsin Avenue in Chevy Chase, Maryland. 301-245-1770. Tell Patty that the Realest Realtor sent you her way. You guys, until next time that we meet again, stay blessed, spread love. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Realest Realtor podcast. Head over to Call Carmellita for Real Estate, all spelled out, on IG, and look in our bio to click on our link so you can connect with us across all platforms. Please subscribe to the podcast here on Anchor and Spotify, and we'll see you next week.